In earnest, I am Vanessa McLean. We're about to have a great evening this evening. About an hour we're going to spend with you. Today, I've got my special guest, Norva Abiona. Norva is an Amazon #1 bestseller. She talks about overcoming domestic abuse. She is the catalyst of change. But more than anything, she is a woman on a mission, helping other women find their purpose. She's dealing with relationships from many different levels. But more than anything, if you're going through trouble, if you're going through adversity, where do you start? Who do you look for? Who's in your corner? Well, Norva, you've got the answers. You've got the answers for us. And we want to hear a little bit about you. In fact, before I turn it over to you, Norva, it was in 2014, 1st of January 2014. I was doing something which I kind of feared. I was the #1 speaker on a live stream. Shay and Trevor, it was 24 hours of motivation. And I remember sitting in my living room doing that live stream and getting emails and getting phone calls, people getting in touch with me. And one of the people who actually got in touch with me that day was Norva. I do speaking, I do coaching, and being on that live stream, Norva saw something that she thought was possible. Someone to coach her, someone to help her with her speaking. And from that day, not only have I helped Norva with coaching and her speaking, we've become good friends and partners in other activities. So Norva, we want to hear your story. We want to hear about relationships. We want to hear how we can grow our businesses with the right kinds of relationships. I'm going to turn it over to you, Norva.
Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. Yeah, I can see that the record button is on. I'll kind of run quickly through my life story in as few sentences as possible. I got married, first of all, at the age of 19, and quickly discovered that I was in an abusive relationship. Actually, from honeymoon is when the first signs of the abuse started taking place. However, because of my upbringing and naive nature at the time, although I was a really outspoken person, I didn't really see it for what it is. And I think one of the things, even though you realize that you're being abused, sometimes you don't think it's as bad as it is, because the environment you've been in all the time makes you feel as though this might be normal. For me, the environment that I was in was growing up with no father figure around. So having a man now in a home for the first time and him speaking to you the way he wants, picking you if he feels like it, because I hadn't seen anything to mirror or to look at as the example, I accepted it for a while. And after 3 years of being married, I plucked up the courage to say something for the first time. But the reaction that I got from my mom, that was the one I said it to in front of my husband, made me become fearful that she would put herself in harm's way by doing something about it. So I got quiet for another 3 years. But by then, I started doing things to improve myself. So personal development, doing courses so that I could improve my skills. And as I began to improve my skills, my eyes became more open to the situation itself and how bad it was. Because Vanessa, as you know, sometimes we just get so uncomfortable with uncomfortable. For me, I got so uncomfortable that somebody telling me that they're going to kill me, they're going to kill my family, they regret ever marrying me, I took that as normal for years. But as I said, thank God, with God's help, with the help of 2 of my family members and stuff, I made the decision to leave that relationship. Yeah, I made the decision to leave that relationship and to come over from Trinidad to the UK to do some studies. And you know what, Vanessa, for a short while, I was actually, in my mind, I thought, you know what, things would change, my husband's attitude would change, things would get better, and we would make back and happily ever after, because that's always the hope. Thank God it was short-lived. So within, I don't know, a week or 2 of coming out, I started to realize what I'd come out of. and panic attack and stuff stepped in actually for a while, because all of the death threats, how I would never leave him, otherwise he'd find me and kill me, and those are the things kept coming up. But it's almost like God kind of gives you double for your trouble. So as time went on, not even years later, within some months of being over here, I got back in contact with an old friend from when I had come to the UK for holiday at age 13. And before you know it, we became best friends. And he is such a loving, gentle guy that after courting for 3 years, the inevitable happened. We got married. That was we've been together 14 years this year, and we've been married for over 10 years now. And I am just so happy to say that I've seen both sides. So I've been in the abusive relationship. I came into this relationship with my husband, and things were good. People admired our relationship. But I even started to do things to take things to another level. And our relationship now is just really like super solid. I am absolutely happy. And well, you've met my husband, you've met me. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell for the relationship and my background.
Norva, let me ask you a question, because a lot of women find themselves in this situation where they're in a relationship, it's abusive, but they're scared to leave.
Yeah.
What is it that made you step out? What is it that really made you say, I don't care what is going to happen, I'm going to move on?
Yeah. Well, it didn't happen overnight. But as I said, deciding to improve your own self does help. Getting with people that could support you and help you to see where you're at helps as well. I had friends around me, but I didn't really have mentors and people who were helping me to see that the relationship that I was unhealthy. So I had to make those decisions for myself based on the way I started to see myself. I started to love Norva a little bit more than I did some months previous. And then what added to it was I had my daughter and realized, Norva, this is not just for you now. You have to do things in the best interest of yourself and in the best interest of this child. And so those things push me. But a lot of people stay in the relationship, Vanessa, not because they want to be abused, but because they can't see any way out. And a lot of times the abuser is two sides. So you stay for things from on your side, but you also stay because of things that the abuser tells you. So when he kind of minimizes what he's doing to you or tells you things to make you feel as your fault, all of those things kind of hold you there. Plus, if financially you're attached to them, that could make matters even more difficult. But to make the decision to leave, it takes guts, it takes determination, and you have to be willing to kind of stand up no matter what other people say, because even for the day I was leaving, people were like, oh no, do you know what you're doing? You shouldn't do that. But I am so glad that I chose to leave. I knew it was the best thing for me at the time.
You see, one of the things Smiley Blankton said, fear is the most subtle and it's the most destructive of all human diseases. Yeah. And it becomes a disease that we are so afraid to move forward, so afraid, but there's always someone there, Norva.
Yeah.
All we need to do is to reach out. Angels will be dispatched. Fear will cripple you. Fear will stop you from living your full potential. You see, when you step out, Norva, when you stepped out, let's just go back. How many years did you say that happened?
How many years ago did it happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was when I finally left. It was 15 years ago.
15 years ago. So if we look back now, 15 years ago, that woman or that young woman that you were at the time, what would you tell her now that you've been on this journey, that you've gone through all of this? What would you tell her now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have gone back a little further, like even 18 years, and said, get out, get out, get out. Things will get better. There's a happy life waiting for you that you cannot even imagine. Hi, welcome. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
There's a happy life. And the thing is, when you're going through so much distress, you cannot see a brighter future.
You can't envisage that at all. Yeah.
You cannot see a brighter future. Melissa, thank you. Melissa's joined us. Melissa is one of my HLIC sisters. What is HLIC? It's the head ladies in charge. We are a part of a film, and it's called the hashtag HLIC. And this young lady, she is a superstar. She's making things happen in America. She's building relationships, and that's what we're all about. This is about building relationships, and that's what we're going to do. Melissa, thank you for joining Norva and myself on this beautiful call. I want you to chip in a minute, but just finish what you were saying, Norva.
Yeah, no, I've finished more or less. I was just waiting for your next question.
Well, you've been listening, Melissa. Do you have a question you'd like to ask Norva?
I actually came in right. I was on, but I wasn't really fully on. I was trying to get myself prepared to come on, so I apologize. So if you can, can you just kind of address what's going on, so I can kind of remember, so I can ask my question myself. So I'm not sure. Please forgive me.
Go ahead, Norva. Just paraphrase where we're at.
Yeah, well, Melissa, we're talking. It's all about relationship, and I was just sharing my story of coming from an abusive relationship into a really fulfilled marriage now, and everything in between, and how I got there, and how Vanessa and I were speaking about how difficult it is at times to leave that abusive relationship, not realizing what sort of joy and excitement and peace of mind waits for you when you get out of it.
That's so true. That is so true. And one of the things that it's like, it's like a breath of fresh air when you leave, you know, and you then, once you realize what you're free from, then you can actually say, now I'm living life, So, one of the things is, it's a journey, and it's a journey of taking back yourself, building up your self-esteem, and, growing the woman that, knowing about the woman that you are, and understanding how to really re-love yourself. So, trust me, it's a journey, but it's a journey that's well worth living. So I commend you for taking a step out of that abusive relationship. And it's a lesson learned in every area of our lives. And one of the things I say to people, that every test, there was a testimony. So out of this came a testimony for you to now stand up and share with other women that are in abusive relationship, that they can come out. And when you come out, you can now stand strong and believe in yourself and love on yourself and endure and, and embrace all that God has created for you to be. So I commend you in all that you're doing, Norva.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate the sentiments. And my mom was commenting, Vanessa, that it seems as though almost everybody you speak to is either they're in an abusive relationship or they've come out of one. So it's amazing. We hardly speak about it, but a lot of people, they're going to work, they're trying to finish their education and stuff, but they're carrying this baggage of a frustration that when they get home, they want to leave. When they leave home, they don't want to go back. It's just really, really sad, and it's something that it needs to be addressed.
It most definitely does. But here's the other thing, which is so important. Our mess becomes someone else's message, and it's so important. When we're going through the abuse, someone may say, well, why is this happening to me? Another question we can ask, well, who else should it happen to? Yeah? Who else should it happen to? You see, your mess is somebody's hope. Your mess is the answer to somebody's problem.
Yes.
That is so true.
I'll tell you, let me just turn my phone off. And I forgot to do that. Let me just do that now.
But even in that your process, Norva, that's when you find a hope to encourage and speak some life to someone else, because even though you have come out, they're trying to come on out. And that is where the message of hope comes from, and that's where where you encourage and speak forth life into them and allow them to understand that their situation too can change. So even though you're sometimes you attract the people around you that that share the same story, and you don't even know it. And the reason why you attract them because it's where you come in to bring healing to them. So where we feel that, you know, oh my gosh, you're attracting the person, is really you're attracting the right person that needs to hear your story. There is power in your story, and when you understand that concept, people that you're attracting, you welcome them with open arms to say,
Yes.
I embrace, I know where you are right now. I'm there, but God delivered me, and I know was able to come on out of the situation, now being in a happier place in my life. So when you take that, you know, those same people that you're attracting and wrap your arms around them and create a support group to help them, and it's also bringing forth healing to you as well.
Yes, yes. So it's 100%. 100%. I totally endorse what you're saying, because the thing is, if you never share, then people feel that they're walking alone. People feel that what they're going through is unique. But you know, there's a scripture verse that said there's nothing new under the sun. Yeah, and that was so many years ago, and still now there's nothing new. So if we open up and we share and we let people know, listen, I've experienced it, but I didn't stay there, I came out, then people begin to see that, yeah, there is hope. There is a way that I could even make more of who I am. I am worth more than this. And not only that, you know, when we look at relationship on a whole, at some point in time, people feel sad in relationship. But when sadness crosses over into frustration, you need to start to take note. If you feel dispirited more times than not, if you feel frustrated more times than not, take a closer look at your relationship. And that's where it starts. We always have to look at where we're at. You can't decide, if somebody calls you and say, okay, I'll help you to find where you are. What's the first thing they ask you normally? Where are you? Then they can tell you turn left, turn right. And if we could get people to start looking at where they're at, be honest about the environment that they're in, then we could tell you, you know what, the relationship that you're in, you could enhance this relationship, or the relationship that you're in, this is not healthy, it's actually toxic, and you need to remove yourself from that environment.
Norva, how would you tell someone, a young lady, a teenager or early 20s, they're in love with someone, but they are being abused? They don't see it as abuse. They see the abuse as, this person loves me, that's why they're doing this to me. What would you tell them?
Yeah. It's, you know, there's something that I put on my Facebook page today, and there are a few questions that you kind of put to people. What is this relationship costing you? That's something that even Dr. Phil teaches us the number one question to ask in a relationship. What is this relationship costing you? And so when people start speaking about what they're experiencing in the relationship, are you experiencing love? Are you experiencing appreciation? Or are you being hurt? Are you spending more of your time sad and having to explain things away? Or are you excited? And is this person excited to see you? How much of that are you getting? If you're caught in and you're more frustrated than happy, or you're more sad than happy, it's time for you to think about taking the exit. Of course, if you just tell them take the exit, people don't want to hear it like that. So you have to really put questions to them that cause them to begin to realize, the answers to this question doesn't really it doesn't make me feel good on the inside. So I should take a closer look. And you have to love them through it. Help them while they're trying to walk through the process. Because, you know, as when you're young, you think you know a lot or everything. Yeah. And so you have to love them while they're walking through the process. In fact, Vanessa, it brings up a good point. There's a campaign that I want to have next year called No Strikes. And the No Strike campaign is geared towards young people. So it's 1 strike and I'll shout, 2 strikes and I'm out. And strike isn't just about hitting. It's about the way somebody speaks to you, the things that they do that devalues you or disrespects you as a person. And if somebody puts things to you that make that is a strike at you as a person. One, if it happens once, we're encouraging people to speak about it. So you know what, I think I need to talk to somebody. And if you're telling them that this is the healthy thing to do, hopefully they would begin to jump on the bandwagon of sharing. If that person is embarrassed about you sharing what they've done with other people, hopefully they would change. If they do it a second time, it's now a pattern. And a pattern of abuse means something that continues. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard a lot of times for people who have started down the road of abuse to just stop, especially if you're allowing them to do it to you.
Norva, I really commend you for how you share your experience. A lot of people need to hear what you've been through because a lot of healing needs to be taken place. I'm really concerned about young women in particular, how whether it's morals, values, that they accept what they've been handed out. They accept it to be the norm, to be treated bad. So how can we encourage young women in particular to see themselves as queens and to be treated, expect to be treated like queens?
Yeah. You know where I'll start, Vanessa? For the abuser and even for the victim, there are three things that you need to think about. It's nature, nurture, and choice.
Nature, nurture, and choice.
Yes.
Okay.
And the nature of an abuser, for example, means things that they were born with. So my mom does this, my dad does this, and I do similar things because is like we say, is in the blood. Mm-hmm. So you're doing certain things, or you have a certain disability, or you have a certain disorder, so it causes you to act a certain way. That's the nature part. However, there's the nurture part as well, the environment that you were brought up in. Mm-hmm. So what you saw as you were growing up, what you take to be comfortable. If you are in an abusive relationship, more times than not, you end up either being abused yourself because you think it's the way it should happen, or you end up being an abuser. Mm-hmm. Whether you abuse or not, or you're a victim or not, you end up being mentally scarred. And until you get you really need support, a lot of support as a young person to come out of that sort of thinking, that sort of mindset, that what I've seen, it doesn't traumatize you to a point where you really cannot move forward and set yourself free. So for young people who find themselves with those sort of things in their background, the next thing is choice. Mm-hmm. What do I choose to do based on what I've seen, based on what I've learned now? It's like, there are two people. And one person, you see all these things on YouTube where one person, they were in a bad environment and then they decided, you know what, I'm going to use this as the catalyst for me moving forward and doing something totally different to what I saw. And then there's another young person who uses it as an excuse. When you're in a relationship and you feel that somebody loves you, especially when it's your first or second relationship, and you're getting some goodies, yeah? The goodies that you're receiving, even though they might be few and far between, are sweeteners that sometimes an abuser or somebody with an abusive tendency would put towards you to make you feel like, you know what, it's okay for you to take what the bad with the good, because the good is very good. But I want people to understand that if you spend time thinking about you growing as a young person, spending time in personal development, most young people don't really want to think about it, but we have to encourage them to really look at how do I love myself? What makes me realize that I should hold myself in high esteem? Mm-hmm. What sort of people am I rolling with? What sort of things what sort of crowd do I want to go with? What do they say about their peers? What do they say about their parents? What do they say about each other? If you find yourself in an environment where you have people that are building up each other and encouraging people to win, you put yourself in that kind of environment, that would help you so much.
I love that. It's who you align yourself with that will create the change that you really want. Norva, I want you to take this a little bit further, because I'm enjoying what you're sharing with us, and it's so important that we share our message, because it's so important for us to heal and to grow. Norva, we are 15 years on from where this story really began. Yeah. How have you used that story now in your current relationship and in your business?
Yeah, well, two sides. In my current relationship, initially, what I had experienced in that abusive relationship did come over into it, because one, even though I was in love, I was still thinking that, you know what, you can't really trust men. Mm-hmm. So maybe at some point in time, my husband would slip up and do something. I was doing certain things to push his buttons just to see, it's like I'm pushing him to see if he would do what the other one was doing.
Come on.
Yeah, I'll have an excuse to run. And so we were both frustrated. He was trying to love me through the panic attacks and all those sort of things. But then I started taking things out on him just because he's a man. Mm. So from the time I started to go first, I started to, as I was saying, spend time growing, spend time loving me. And because only when you begin to love yourself truly that you could really love others. And as I did that for me, and I extended that love towards my husband as well, I started going first in certain things. So I stopped asking him to spend time with me and to do certain things that he would do lovingly, because the style that I wanted him to do it in wasn't his preference. He would do it for a few days and then go back to his own self. I started going first. And in fact, I was writing a book called I'll Go First, and I'll continue that book later on. But I started writing about it because I went first in treating him like the king that he is. And because I did that, he just would naturally reciprocate it to me. That sort of love, I stopped asking. I didn't have to ask. I mean, now, honestly, I don't have to ask. He is just really loving, caring, and I began to appreciate him for who he is and not wanting him to change to my style.
You see, as you're saying that, Norva, all I'm hearing is you're saying you may be born into a nightmare, but you can certainly be thrust into a dream. Yes. That doesn't have to be the destination. That's just a comma. Now you're moving on. Yes. There's something better along the way.
100%. And in addition, what's happening now in business, because as you know, for me, it's all about relationship. I was writing the other book, and I felt that I heard God say to me, no, stop. A lot of people are trying to fix relationships that cannot be fixed. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to improve and make the relationship healthy when it's one hand that's clapping. Have you ever seen one hand clap?
It's impossible to do.
It's a wave.
Yeah.
And that wave should be bye-bye.
Yeah.
Wave that old.
I like that.
I said goodbye. I'm not saying that will be the total end of your relationship. Don't get me wrong. For all you know, he might decide, oh my Lord, this woman is well worth it, and go and get the help that he needs. But you cannot get that help for the person. Mm-hmm. So I felt it was time for me to write this book. I don't know if you could see it properly.
I don't know, but I'm sure you're going to put that in the comments. And I'm sure someone wants to find out a little bit about it. So you've got to tell us about your book. Yes. I can't wait for you to tell us about that.
Yeah, so I felt that I should write this book first called Time to Go. And Vanessa, it took me 5 months. Now, you know my story, and you know dyslexic Norva doesn't like to read and those sort of things. But when a passion is inside you and you're meant to do something, it flows. So within 5 months, I finished writing the book. I'd gone over it, got it proofread and stuff. And as you know, I put the book up because I wanted women to know, if you're being treated a certain way, this is not just a stressful relationship. I want you to understand the difference between unhealthy and healthy in relationship. And if it's unhealthy, it's abusive. And if it's abusive, you shouldn't be anybody's punching bag mentally or physically. Don't take it. There's no reason for you to take it. And the biggest issue that a lot of people have, that I have seen, is feeling financially tied to their spouse. So I spent a chapter giving people 16 ways that they could find money to help them to start to get out of the relationship and to start their new life.
That's one of the biggest things that stops a lot of women from leaving the dependency.
Yes.
And if they've never had any control over money or any finances, how will they survive? They've got to hang around. That's a perception that they get. But what you've said, you've given us 16 steps where we can break free. We've got to free ourselves to be ourselves. So, Norva, you've got that in your book, and I'm sure that's going to be a good read. Let's have a little bit more about what's in your book.
Yes. One of the other things that I did, I was just pulling up the link to put it
Okay.
in that. Yeah, I put it in soon. Yeah, one of the other things that I spent a lot on is the bonus chapter, which is looking at the methods of abuse. Because types of abuse and methods are two different things. I kind of talk about it like if you think about fruit trees being the types of abuse. Mm-hmm. Then the mango is like one type of abuse. So you have a mango tree. But then if you think about the methods of abuse now is the different types of mangoes. So how are you abusing this person? So you're looking at things like verbally, you're talking about emotionally, abuse of power, stalking, digital abuse. I mean, there's so many types of abuse that a lot of people just think about physical abuse because it's the most known, and emotional abuse because it's the most common. But spiritual abuse is a big one that happens because a lot of people use religion as the reason for why they treat people undermine people, disrespect people, devalue people, force people to do things. Mm-hmm. Controlling and manipulating people in relationships as well, that's another thing that I spent a lot of time on. And a big thing as well, Vanessa, is coercive control.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Coercive control. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Coercive control is when you're really taking away somebody's human rights and liberty by your actions. And a lot of times, what people do to you, if you look at it in isolation, each one in isolation, it doesn't look like a big thing. So searching through, if your spouse is searching through your emails, checking up to see who you've called, telling you what you could wear, telling you where and when you could spend money, how much money you could spend. All of those things are coercive control. And what I love about what's happening now in the UK is that if you're found and charged with that sort of crime, you could get up to 5 years imprisonment. So it's no longer that a woman has to prove that she was physically abused. If there's evidence of her being coerced in such a way that she cannot stand on her own 2 feet as a woman because you have ebbed away at her self-esteem, her confidence and stuff so much, you could be put in prison. And what the authorities over here is doing now, there's a new paper that just came out last week, Vanessa, and now when the police go to ask anything about an abusive situation, they're not just asking about what's happening then. They could ask about everything in the past. They could ask other people in the household, and they could ask your neighbors and other people who.
Well, that gets really, really deep, Norva. Norva, you've lived through this, and you've shared so much. So I know the story behind the story. I want you to give us just 3 tips, and the tips are what are the signs to look out for? The 3 obvious signs of an abuser, and even when you think they are the sweetest thing that God ever created, what are the signs that says no, this person isn't the right one for me?
Yeah. Well, Vanessa is as long as a piece of string because people use different things, of course. But some of the major ones that people tend to do is they tell you things in such a way, like to say, I am the authority on this, so you have to do what I say. This is the way we're doing it. Once you're getting it like that, that is, you've gone past now us having a dialogue, and you are trying to control me, or you're trying to manipulate me by the things that you're saying. Another thing that they might do is allow you some freedom, but as soon as you begin to get too close to friends, they begin to say things about that individual or say that this person has said things about you and stuff to pull you away from friends. All of a sudden, all the friends that you had, like for me, I was an outgoing person, had a lot of friends, and all of a sudden, no friends want to come around to your house. But when they meet us, when we're out, he is just so loving and nice to them that is Jekyll and Hyde, really a mixed personality. And, there's another thing that comes up a lot in abuse. It doesn't have to, but it comes up a lot, is narcissistic tendencies by your partner. If you have somebody who they're acting one way when they're at home and a totally different way in front of people, start to, as we say, pinch yourself. That's not right. You should be the same person anywhere you go. You know me, I like to talk foolishness. I would talk foolishness in the house, in front of my husband, away from my husband. What I say here and what I say there is the same. An abuser, he tries to, and especially the narcissistic type, he tries to put on a facade and act as well, feel as though he's more unique. And a lot of times they have low self-esteem, but they try to overcompensate for that by acting as though they're an authority, by trying to look good in front of people who they see as rich and famous or having some sort of authority to show that they're in the same rank as them. So I think those are a few things that you could look out for with abuser. 3 things.
Wonderful. Norva, you've been on an incredible journey and you've used your story to empower many women globally. And you're doing really successful, well, you're making a success of it as we speak. Let's hear more about the wise wife, because that's what you are as well.
Yes. And that's my passion, really. But out of the wise wife, you also have to be wise to know if to stay or if to leave. That is a bit of the wise wife. But in relationships, I've found that there are 15 areas of your life and of your relationship that you need to look into if you really want to have a great relationship. I can't remember all offhand, although I wrote about it, but we're talking about the passion, intimacy, love, communication, respect for each other. Those are just a few. And what I'll do, Vanessa, is I'll put a link on the side because I wrote a book on that before I wrote this book, a small book called The Wise Wife Manifesto, so that people could know all of the topics that they need to really look into if you want to have not just a good relationship, but a great relationship. And if you want to continue to grow in your relationship and bring your best self to the party, so to speak, all the time.
Listen, is that a free document, the manifesto?
Yes.
It is a free. We love to give free. We love to give value. So I had to find out whether or not it was free. Before we go any further, for all those who I haven't said hello to, I am Vanessa McLean, #1 Amazon bestseller of the book Fight for Your Dreams, The Power of Never Giving Up, which I've co-authored with Les Brown. I'm also a member of the new film, which has just been released. It's called #HLIC, the head ladies in charge. I'll be putting the links in later in the program. If you haven't pressed that blue button to the left, press it. Let's see what happens. Let's see if you've got friends that would like to join us on this blab. We're talking about relationships with Norva Abiona. She is the change catalyst. She's making things happen. She knows about relationships, the good, the bad, and she knows how to get them better. And if you're going through some kind of relationship upheaval or want to get your relationship into a state of harmony, jump in that spare seat. We'd like to speak with you. Join the conversation. There is a spare seat. We're not keeping this to ourselves. Join us. We want to talk with you as well.
Yeah. Vanessa, while we're waiting to see if anybody would like to join us, I've just put 3 links in the chat. So the first one is the Wise Wife Manifesto for people who really want to look at ways of enhancing their relationship. And that is at www.thewisewife.com/manifesto. And then I've also put in links to Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk so that people could take a look inside the book, Time to Go, for those who feel as though the relationship is not a healthy one and you want to learn more about the relationship that you're in, what abuse is, what to look out for. And in the beginning of the book, when you look inside, there's a free checklist in there based on the book that people could download as well. So if they're in the UK or they're on Amazon.co.uk, they could click on the .co.uk. If they're in the States, .com.
Let's hear about some of your coaching programs, because not only are you a speaker, Norva, you're a coach as well, and you coach relationships. So let's find out a little bit about some of what you share and give to us.
Yes, there are a few things that I look at, and I am really geared towards helping women. And so for those who want to enhance their relationship, we look at that. For those who need coaching through how to get out of an abusive relationship safely, because that's a big thing. How do you come out of this with as much of your mental faculties as you could have? The thing is, you would need to get support when you come out to help you to get whole again. Because for me, and this is just going to the side, even though it's 15 years later, I only recently went for therapy. And because all the time I thought I was dealing with everything fine until so many things came back up as I was writing the book. And it's helped me so much to be able to almost not have things just keep coming up in my head as it comes to mind, but it comes when I am more in control of my memories. So we help people with those. We also help people who they're in a position where, whether they're in abuse or not, they want to move forward in their life, but financially they don't know how to do that. We tell people about how to get into business or how to help improve themselves so that they're better suited for the work role as a woman.
Look, let me just see. Does anybody want to join in, have a question they'd like to ask Norva? We've seen Derek has just joined us, and somebody called Kate Elizabeth Green. If you have a question you'd like to ask Norva, feel free. And click the blue button, because we want people to join us. We are building a movement. We are women and empowering other women. In fact, as we empower other women, we're also empowering our men as well. It's important that we build strong relationships, not just personal relationships, but business relationships as well. I've got 3 things I normally work with when I'm looking at a relationship. I've got 7, but I'm going to give you 3 quick ones right now. You may not need to even write it down. But the first thing is, what value do we bring to the relationship? There are 2 people, it's a group of people. What value does each person bring to that relationship? The other thing which is really so important in building a relationship, whether it be a personal or a business one, is the attitude that we have. What kind of attitude do you bring? What assets do you have so that this relationship will grow and grow fruitfully? And here's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things in what I deliver when I'm sharing with you about relationship is how we network with each other and how we bring others into the network to see the value, to align with the bigger picture, to align with the mission. You see, Norva, your story has so much power. Your story gives life. And when we share our story from a place of authenticity, that's when we start to share life. We build stronger relationships because we're being authentic. We're giving from our heart. We're giving from that place where change must take place.
Yes. And as I said in the beginning, you overcome anything through change. If you're going down a road and you even make 1%, the tiniest, the most minute of change, you don't end up in the same place that you were going initially. And so it does take willpower, it does take hard work. But in order for you to change the story that you're giving out, to change the story that you're telling yourself, you have to decide, I am going to be willing to do something a little different to what I was doing before.
And that is so cool. When I hear you say that, I think about, this is not to do with relationship, but to show you how you can move along. This person you see, Vanessa McLean, sitting here on this blab, as a younger person, didn't have confidence, didn't know how to tell her story, didn't think her story had any relevance or importance. So what did she do? She kept herself quiet. Now, how's that going to serve you when you've got something growing inside of you? And because you're on this blab, there's something happening. You've got a relationship that other people will benefit from, but how are they going to know about it unless you share it? It wasn't until somebody saw something in me that said, Vanessa, go out there. You've got a voice. You've got something that the world must hear. You're on this blab because your relationship will change someone's life. Don't hold back. I held back for too long, Norva. I didn't know that this was my calling, to coach people, to tell their story, to move them on to their next level in a strategic fashion with a system as well.
Yes.
And here we are today, sharing who you are, Norva, this incredible woman. But one thing we haven't spoken about, and I think it's so important to understand as a woman, you mentioned the nurturing side, the relationships between yourself and your family, because you're a businesswoman and you have a family. So how does that relationship work so that you can still get the success that you're getting now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I chose to be an entrepreneur, one, because I think for me, it must have been in my blood or something. From the age of 9, that was the first time that I had a taste of the entrepreneurial life just by selling mangoes in school. And
juicy mangoes, juicy mangoes.
And from those humble beginnings, I just got the bug to want to do my own thing. And so even though I went into the corporate world and I did a lot of training along the lines of helping families, I did restorative justice, mediation, family mediation, divorce mediation. I've done family group conference. All of those things helped me to be able to offer to people, not just based on my own experience, but based on training, song training, so that I'm bringing information to people from a more holistic point of view, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, certainly.
So with that in mind, I have the opportunity now to be able to do a lot of stuff from home while taking care of my little ones. Because as you know, I have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and now a 16-year-old. And the relationship that I have with each one of them, to me, is priceless. I have a great relationship with each one of my children. I don't have, I know a lot of people have issues with their teenagers. I don't have those sort of problems with my daughter. She has an entrepreneurial mind as well. So she's doing her own little business, and I try to support her in that. The 2 little ones, I just love helping to be able to bring this life from a place of innocence and not knowing to just discovering and learning who they are, learning the environment, about the environment that they're in. And so working from home affords me the opportunity. Plus, because I have the support of a loving husband who gives me the support that I need when he comes in, he's happy to take over looking after the children, which he's doing now. Yeah, those sort of things, it does help a great deal. It's very difficult when you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you have a family, and you don't have the support of your family around you. Yeah, so yeah, all kudos to my husband and to my children.
Yeah, and you're fortunate, or should I say, you are blessed.
And highly
blessed to have such a great husband, blessed to have such a bond there, because there's so many women who would like to experience coming home, having your husband take care of you after a busy day, even if you're working from home, but to appreciate you, not just to be having dinner put on the table, but appreciate you for who you are, for the woman that you are in life. Is anybody in the room like to come and sit in the seat? We've got a seat here if you'd like to ask Norva a question, even one of the young men, because it'd be interesting to hear your perspective on relationships, how you treat. Don't get scared now. Don't get scared. We want to hear your perspective on what is a relationship. How do you value a relationship? What are the essential ingredients for a successful relationship?
I've noticed that I think a lot of them, I don't know if it's because of bad or they jump in. A lot of them are out now. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Norva, it's good. I mean, this is our first blab, and we're going to be having other blabs. First of all, let's find out, where are you going to be online this week so we can keep following you, trolling you, and in fact, joining in the conversation, because it's more important that we keep connected. We're building relationships, and this is why we started this. So where can we find you this week, Norva?
So this Thursday, I'll be on another blab. The link has not been put up yet. I'll put it up tomorrow because I wanted to just concentrate my effort on this blab for today. Yeah, so I'll have another blab on Thursday. People could join me on that one. Plus,
what are you going to be talking about on that blab?
We're going to be talking about, let me try to remember, sorry. Yeah, we're going to be talking about happiness, actually, and change, the importance of change if you really want to live a happy and fulfilled life.
Well, I think I'll come into that because I'm always happy. Even if I'm not going and having a great day, I'm still happy because I'm above ground. The reason why I said that today, as I woke up, went through the door, I heard some sad news that one of our neighbours had made her transition. And as the person told us the story, it wasn't a happy face that he had. So I'm thankful that I'm still above ground and that we can still make a difference. Whatever we do today, find a way to be happy through the pain. Find a way to express some joy. You are alive. Yeah. You've got breath in you, and we can make a difference. Each one of us can make a difference in people's lives.
Yes, yes. That's so true, Vanessa. Because a lot of times we act as though what we're experiencing, first of all, is permanent, when it's a sad thing, and it's not. And we choose to kind of prolong that sorrowful feeling or that sorrowful disposition when we have a choice, as I said before. Choose to smile. Choose to make other people happy. Don't take your sad situation or something sad that you made with you for the entire day. Yeah, it might affect you inside, but it doesn't mean that you have to cause it to affect other people in a negative way. You want to be able to, when you're reaching out to other people, they could feel love and warmth from you. Because first impressions last. And if you're meeting someone for the first time and you are meeting them with the attitude of, oh, I'm not having a good day, that's what they remember about you. And that is not what you want them to remember. Then you have to apologize the next time you see them.
See, how many times have you asked someone, how are you? I'm all right. I mean, come on now. And their faces tell, their body language tells another story. So what can we do to ignite that passion in people? One of the things we're doing is, as women, we're using our platforms. I'm using my platform as a speaker, as a coach and a trainer to bring out those stories which sometimes have brought you a lot of pain. But we're now going to turn the switch on that story. So it now brings joy to any person. You've arrived at the right time, because that story which you're now going to tell, that story that took you on the journey, was for somebody else. Somebody was waiting at the end of the road for you to go through that. You were just the vessel. Now you're going to build another relationship with someone who needs strength and power. And through your story, that's what I'm going to help you to achieve. It's in your story of Vanessa McLean, the coaching program. That's what I deliver. We're going to build relationships with women. Norva, one of the things you do when you're speaking, what is it that people often say when they hear your story?
Well, most people say you're strong, you're a superwoman, you've done so much, because, of course, I haven't really spoken about the health bit of my life, which you know about, Vanessa. But
we'll come back and we'll speak about that, because there's a lot to learn from yourself, which will empower not only women but men as well.
Yes, yeah. But because of all of that, by the time you share a little bit about things that I've experienced through this life, people begin to realize, you know what, if Norva could do it, I could do it too. And that is the message that I want them to get. So when they get that, it's like, yes, I've done my duty to this group of people.
Yeah. So I see a champion, Norva, someone who was in an abusive relationship but never said, I'm going to sit down and settle for this. Just like Harley, he is a fighter. And he said, I didn't see myself as a loser. I saw myself as the greatest. I am the greatest. You never heard him say, well, I think I'll be the greatest. No, I am the greatest. You saw yourself as the victor. You saw yourself coming through and you did everything to come through on the other side. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? We don't know. But what you now have is a blueprint for others. This is a journey I've been on. Now, here are the steps that you can take to, even if you don't avoid them, but to mitigate all the pain, suffering, and hurt that I went through.
Yes, yes. And that is one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Vanessa, so that people would know. I remember in my situation, I had to work things out myself. How do I leave? What do I need to do? All the steps. And that's why I put pen to paper. I wrote it down in the book so that people could go to the book as a one-stop shop. Or next I have coming out 2 courses, which is you have a little more hand-holding for taking you through, because I know it's frustrating itself to feel like you're trapped in an environment, but you want somebody to be able to show you the way to go. And not everybody would be happy to read a book. So some people would prefer to listen via audio, some people would prefer the course. And so those things are coming just to help people to know, listen, there's help out there, there's support out there, there's a place that you could go to get information on how you could come out of an abusive relationship if that's what you find yourself in.
And Norva, there is nobody better to follow as yourself. You've been there, you've got the book, you've got the T-shirt, and you also coach people to get through those awful times, because they certainly are, to get their power back. And that's so important that as women, we understand how powerful we are. We are roots from a tree, and our roots are deep. We will be swayed, we will be bent, but we will rise up.
Yes, yes.
And it doesn't matter what we've been through, Norva.
Yes.
We will come back stronger than we were when we started.
Yes, yeah. And then for those who, as I said, you feel dispirited or frustrated in your relationship, but it's a relationship that's based on love, so a healthy relationship, then what you would do is we have a course that is called the Wiser Me Blueprint, showing them how to take their relationship to another level without waiting for their partner to change. So how they could start making the changes by doing what we call going pro. So looking at a problem, PRO, as a project. PRO.
Got it. Norva, where else can we find you on social media? Because that's going to be quite important if people want to follow you, get some of your products and services. So what's the best places for us to catch up with Norva Abiona?
Yes. Well, for me, I frequent Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com/Norva Abiona.
And you'll put that in the chat when you finish. Thank you.
I will, because I know it's hard to. It's a tongue twister in itself. Yeah. Yes, but if you go there, you will see a lot of inspirational stuff that I put up on a daily basis. I absolutely enjoy just sharing those nuggets with people. Yeah, so they could find me there or via Twitter. And then I'm planning in the not too distant future to start doing my own blabs, where we talk about all things relationship, from the enhancing your relationship to how to get out of an abusive relationship. So that's my Facebook. Yeah, the Facebook one is up now for if people want to click on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen Latonia. I hope I said your name correct, because it's so awful when people say your name that they pronounce it wrong, if you're anything like me. But if you'd like to join the seat, we're here for a few more minutes. So we've got an open seat. Anyone who wants to just jump in, we'd love to. We're having a party, but we're talking to ourselves. We love new connections.
Yeah.
We're building relationships. So if you want that seat, it's open. Just pop over. Yeah. We're happy to talk to you.
Yeah, she's out now. If you look at the top,
Yes, I've noticed. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do now, because I understand that you've got another appointment shortly. So we're going to wrap this one up now. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us on I'm calling it our first blab, because we're going to continue this, because there's other aspects of relationships that we're going to be talking about. One of the things I will be talking about is the relationship that we have with food and how that affects our personal and our business relationship. And I'm going to speak about that in particular my journey, where I was 4.5 years ago, a lot heavier than I am now, but with a mindset that allowed me to see another vision of who Vanessa could be. I've released over 6 stones. So you can do the calculation from stones to pounds. We're bright people, or we've got Google. Whatever it is, do that. But what is it? Wherever you are in your life, whatever's going on, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to think something. It starts in your mind. Who am I going to become? Who do I need around me to make that change happen? And I had to make sure I released a few people, released a few thoughts, released a few energies so that I could become the person who I am becoming. Yeah. Norva, I thank you for being a part of this journey, because you've been with me on this growth, and we're never going to stop growing. And that's why I like to bring my friends into the conversation, build up. Felicia, let me just bring you in. I'm glad you've joined me. Felicia, we were about to go. We will go shortly. I'm not quite sure why it's not letting you in. Let's try again one more time. Can you see that?
No. I can't see the person.
If you disconnect, Felicia, and try again and come back in, because I don't know why that seat. Right, let's just knock you out for 1 second. Try again. Yeah. And I'm conscious that you've got another appointment in just a few moments, so we can just close this out once she comes back in, if she comes back in. Yeah. So whilst we're just waiting for Felicia to come back in, have you got any live events coming up at all, Norva?
Not where I am speaking in the not. Yeah, I need to double check my calendar for that one. But I know there's some things planned for next year. And of course, yeah, I'll be in the States at Lisa Sasovich event next month. And we should be meeting up in the States as well, Vanessa.
Well, I'm glad you've just come on at the right time, Felicia, because Norva has just intimated that she's going to be somewhere in New York around about the 22nd of October, yes, somewhere near the Cityplex Cinema. So who knows, we may see Norva at the screening of the HLIC movie. Your screen is frozen, Felicia.
Yes.
Oh, that's better. We're
can
back,
you hear
we're
me?
Back on track. Yes. I can hear you. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, she's going to be in New York around, the time that they're doing the screening in Newark.
Yeah. Will you be there?
No, I won't be there. I don't think I'm going to make that one. No.
Okay. But since you're on the call line, we're going to be closing out soon. But if you just quickly introduce yourself, Alicia, because we're ladies, we've all got powerful stories, and just let everybody know what your story is about.
Okay, yes, I am Felicia Muhammad, spiritual life and business transformation facilitator and healer, cast member in the HLIC movie, and Awakening Dynamics certified practitioner. And what that means, beliefs, the traumas, the experiences that keep us stuck and keep us in doubt, keep us feeling unworthy, low self-esteem, and in abusive situations. So I help us to know how to access the subconscious
we've
mind.
Lost you temporarily. Oh, okay, we're back. Mm-hmm. It seems like we've got a poor connection. Are you there?
Mr. Wake Up Better or Mr. M?
Back. Can you hear me now? What was the last thing you heard me say?
As well.
Did somebody else want to jump in?
No, yeah, I was asking if one of them.
Sure, we've got a free seat, so feel free to jump in. I can hear you.
Hear me?
I can't see you.
I can't see you.
What?
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically, I help people to know how to access the body's ability to self-heal by releasing the limiting beliefs and the stuff that keeps us stuck, reconditioning the mind. And so Yeah, that's a beautiful experience. So, my part of my story in HLIC was dealing with, and I've been my own best client just over the years before I actually got certified in knowing how to do this for myself and helping others. My story was, dealing with my dad not being in my life, and as a result, making some decisions that caused me to seek attention from men I didn't get from my father, which developed in some promiscuity and dealing with low self-esteem, thinking I wasn't good enough. And as a result of that ability to go within and get closer with God, asking questions, why am
I can't hear
I
anything.
here? What's my purpose?
No.
And so, oh well.
No, say what you repeat it.
Repeat that last part.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. And so, being able to get closer with God and knowing how to ask the questions, why am I here? What's my purpose in life? It really empowered me to be able to be honest with myself. As I say, being honest with yourself about your shit.
Mhm.
And the shit is, I mean that literally, but it's also an acronym for self-healing inner talk. So helping people to know how to change those negative beliefs into more and reprogram the mind to start creating positive experiences and attracting to you your divine and destiny so you can start fulfilling it.
Felicia, how can people find you online? That's one of the first questions I want to find out.
Okay, you can go to FeliciaMuhammad.com, FeliciaMuhammad, and I put it over in the chat.
Thank you.
And they can see the video. And even on my Blab station, we did a clearing session the other day with some people that were on, and they had never heard of what I was doing before, and they had an experience to see exactly what I do in session, and they got some. I'm really excited about that. So I offer a free session for people to, if they got any baggage that they want to change, we can go in and have a session and help them to release that baggage.
Thank you, Felicia.
I don't know where Felicia is, but
I can't see. But she's
Felicia is like God right now. She's everywhere. I could just hear Felicia's voice.
Yeah. Can you see me?
I can see you. I could hear Felicia's voice, feel Felicia's presence, but I can't see her.
I can't see you either. So we
I
just
can see both of you all.
No, somebody else was asking, where is she?
Yeah, she's in some kind of terrestrial realm somewhere.
She's looking over us.
Wow. Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I thank you, and I'm so looking forward to actually meeting up with you in the physical realm pretty soon, because as we've been saying, Norva, since we started this call, myself, Felicia, and who else was on this call earlier on? Melissa Lambert.
Melissa,
Yeah, the three of us who've been on this call today are in the film The Head Ladies in Charge, and we are creating a movement. We're telling our stories authentically raw, the good, the bad, the ugly, the incredible. Each one of these stories, they're meant to make you look at yourself, see yourself for who you are, give you hope, give you determination, give you the focus, give you the drive to live your best life, to be your best life. You are the CEO of your life. You are a head lady in charge. The relationships that you're going to build because you've taken charge of your life, this is what this movie is going to allow you to do. Felicia, you've been at one of the screenings already. Just give us a few minutes of the experience you had and the audience have had just watching the movie.
Oh wow, it was surreal. I mean, I felt like a movie star. I did. I mean, the star that I am, in God's
Of course,
creation.
naturally.
And the feedback from the attendees, they acknowledged that they could relate to a lot of the stories, and that they experienced transformation just looking at the stories. Because one lady, she even asked, well, where's the lady? And this is when we were in Newark. She said, where's the lady who experienced the corporate bullying? Because she knew somebody who was going through that same experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in DC, when I went to the premiere in DC with a panel discussion, and that was phenomenal. And I brought my cousin and my
I can't hear. I can't hear you very well.
You'll have to say that again.
You brought your
audio.
daughter. Yeah, I can't hear. Vanessa, I would leave in about 6 minutes.
Her daughter.
We could continue the conversation. With
I'm going to have another call shortly as well, so I'm going to be wrapping up. But what I'd like to do, Felicia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, so I'm not quite sure what just happened, but if you just quickly just wind up as you were saying, because we lost the last few moments of what you were saying.
Just you said you took your daughter.
Oh, my cousin brought her daughter, and she was just saying she was glad we had the courage to share our stories, because she was glad she came, and she was glad she brought her daughter. So it was very life transforming.
That's very nice.
It's fine. Felicia, if you could put the link to the trailer into the feed, I would appreciate that so much.
Okay.
Anyone get a moment to have a quick look at that to see exactly what we're talking about. We will be screening, the next screening of the film is on the 22nd of October in Newark, New Jersey. We will be having a screening in London as well. The dates have been changed, so I'm just doing some last moment logistics. We were supposed to be having it the second week in November. Things are changing, but we will be having that. Norva, you're going to be on the team with us to make sure that works as well, because we support each other. It's all about relationship, helping each other on this journey. We cannot do it alone.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you all can see what I'm typing in or not, because it's not showing up on my end.
No, it's not showing up here as well.
Oh, okay.
No, somebody else.
What I will do is I'll find the link and I'll put that in just a moment then, yeah?
Yes.
So what I'm going to do now, thank you everyone for joining us. This is my first blab. This is our first blab, because I never say it's just me. Yes, I set it up, but I cannot do this without you. So thank you, everyone who took a time out to listen. And especially thank you, Norva, because I know you are a busy woman. You've got things to do. You're on a mission. You've got lives to change. Yes. And just to know that the relationships that we have, we can redesign them and become the person who God, like you said, created us to be.
Yes. Yeah.
What's your last words for us, Norva?
Yeah, I'm sorry, because I could see people coming in and out, so it would be nice to go forward. But as you know, I have a mastermind that I run on a Monday night, which is starting soon. But I just want to encourage women. We are supposed to live happy and fulfilled life. Bottom line, there's no ifs, maybe, or perhaps about it. That's the kind of life that God has created us to live. We have the opportunity to do that, but we have to make certain choices that will allow us to be able to go down the road that would take us there if we're not there yet, or we have to do things that will help us to enhance what we have or to maintain the happiness that we have. So all in all, it would take some work. And if once we're willing to do the work, we get the rewards of the happiness that is just waiting there for us. So that's why I want to encourage women everywhere. Don't stay in frustration in a relationship, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Do what it takes to make your life happy, fulfilled, and really worth living.
If you do a hashtag, all I can say is hashtag my time to live. It's your time to live. It's your time to make a difference. You create the next chapter. This is the last quarter. Make it count. Build relationships that helps you to grow. Build relationships that you will grow from.
Yes.
Norva, thank you for joining me today. I look forward to, in fact, I'm going to be on your blab on Thursday. I will be back next week, Monday. This is going to become a regular spot. You may even see Norva as well. We're talking about relationships, different kinds of relationships, powerful relationships. I will be focusing on health because that's a major part of what I do and how I can use those health stories to empower others. I am Vanessa McLean. My link's in the chat. Go to vanessamclean.com if you want to keep the conversation going with me. Download a copy of the 7 Habits That Speakers Need to Understand. I'm your speaker, the coach, the confident speaker coach. And whilst you're at my website, don't forget, have a look at the film. You can download the digital copy. Put it that way. Maybe if I put it that way, that's the right way up. Head Ladies in Charge. And as I said, just before I go, I am an Amazon #1 best-selling author, which I've co-authored this book, Fight for Your Dream, The Power of Never Giving Up. Ooh, it's a bit, but if you go to my website, vanessamclean.com, you can download the digital copy if you're one of those kind of people. If you want the book itself, you can get it from my website. I will sign it for you. And if you do order it today, I will also give you a free 30-minute coaching session.
Yes. And well, you know, mine was an abusive relationship. The link is in the chat for where you can get it on Amazon, Time to Go. And then for those who want to enhance their relationship, you can get the Wise Wife Manifesto. That link is there as well. And Bumi, welcome. We're just about to wrap things up. Yes, we do. Sorry. But you should be able to catch the replay.
You catch a replay, but Bumi, you've got the best. You've got the tail end. You've got the sweet end. And guess what? We're just pausing it here until next week. So you've got to think about us for the next 7 days. Wow, we missed those 2 incredible women. Yes, you did. But listen, we want to hear your story. So make sure you come back next week. Whoever's in this room, click that blue button and say, oh my goodness, you've got to be on this call next week. Our lives are going to be changed because we're building strong relationships, business and personal relationships. And your life matters. It's my time to live. Norva, thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Have a blessed week, everybody. We look forward to seeing you next week. And if you're on Twitter or online on Thursday, Norva, put your link in so that we can join you as well.
Yes, yeah. Maybe, hold on. If people look at my Facebook page, then they would see when that link is being shown, or if they follow me on Twitter, I'll pin it to
Cool.
the top of Twitter. Yeah?
Cool.
Yes.
Right then, everyone, have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make it happen. Whatever you do, just make it happen. Your relationship counts.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.